In a dystopian Britain sometime in the near future, the iron-fisted Norse Fire Party rules with absolute authority. Surveillance is constant, curfews are enforced, and dissent is crushed without mercy. London is a city shrouded in fear. It's here, on the night of November 4th, that we meet Evie Hammond. Haunted by the memory of her activist parents being taken away in the night, she lives a quiet, compliant life. But desperation forces her to break curfew, hoping to earn money through a clumsy attempt at prostitution. Her first encounter is not with a client, but with the Fingermen, the state's corrupt secret police. They corner her in an alley, their intentions predatory and vile. As they shove her against a brick wall, a new figure emerges from the shadows. He wears a black cloak, a wide-brimmed hat, and a striking, perpetually smiling Guy Fawkes mask. His voice is theatrical, quoting Shakespeare as he confronts the Fingermen. The multiplying villainies of nature do swarm upon him, he declares. The Fingermen, arrogant in their power, dismiss him, but their confidence evaporates when they see the glint of steel in his gloved hands. What follows is not a fight, but a performance of deadly grace. V, as he will be called, moves with superhuman speed and strength, dispatching the corrupt officers in seconds. He turns to a terrified Evie and introduces himself as the villain. He leads her to the rooftops, explaining that she is his audience for a special performance. As the clock on Big Ben strikes midnight, marking the beginning of November 5th, he begins to conduct an unseen orchestra. Tchaikovsky's 1812 overture swells through hidden speakers across the city, and with a flourish of his conductor's wand, V unleashes his masterpiece. The Old Bailey, the symbol of justice, erupts in a massive, fiery explosion, followed by a spectacular fireworks display that paints a giant letter V in the night sky. Evie can only watch, mesmerized and horrified, as V announces his arrival to London. In the seat of power, the nation's leader, he assembles the heads of his security apparatus, the eye, the ear, and the nose, demanding answers. The only footage of the attacker shows a masked man with impossible speed. The leader entrusts the investigation to Detective Finch of the Nose, a weary but sharp investigator who senses this is more than just a random act of terror. Meanwhile, V takes Evie to his secret underground home, the Shadow Gallery, a magnificent sanctuary filled with the art, music, and literature that the Norse Fire regime has banned. He offers her refuge, a place to stay in this world he's creating. Intrigued and grateful, Evie accepts, stepping into a universe far beyond the gray conformity she has always known. V's revolution, however, is not just about grand public gestures, it's deeply personal. He begins a systematic campaign of revenge against those who wronged him years ago. His first target is Louis Prothero, the voice of fate, the government's chief propagandist. V intercepts Prothero's private train, disables his bodyguards, and confronts the man he once knew as Commander Prothero, the head of the Larkhill resettlement camp. Through a chilling flashback, we learn that Larkhill was a concentration camp where undesirables were subjected to horrific experiments. Forces Prothero to relive his past before leaving him a gibbering, insane wreck for the authorities to find. At the scene, Detective Finch discovers V's calling card, a rare, thought-to-be extinct rose, the Violet Carson. Back in the Shadow Gallery, Evie, feeling indebted to V, agrees to help him with his next target, Bishop Anthony Lilliman, a corrupt, lecherous clergyman with a taste for young girls. Posing as a teenager sent from an agency, Evie enters the bishop's private quarters. But when the bishop becomes aggressive, Evie fights back, stunning him just as V arrives. Seeing V's bloody knives and realizing he intends to kill the bishop, Evie is horrified. She can't be a part of this. She flees into the night, leaving V to deliver his judgment. V forces a poisoned communion wafer into the bishop's mouth, killing him and leaving another Violet Carson rose behind. Finch's investigation leads him to connect both Prothero and Lilliman to Larkhill. He suspects their attacker is a former inmate, a ghost from the camp's buried past. Evie is now on the run, a fugitive terrified of both the government and the man who saved her. She seeks refuge with a former colleague, but her presence ultimately leads to his arrest and her own capture. Thrown into a dark, cold cell, Evie is subjected to brutal interrogation. Her head is shaved, she's beaten, and tortured for information about V. Her only solace comes from a letter she finds hidden in a rat hole written on toilet paper by a former prisoner named Valerie. Valerie tells the story of her life, her love for another woman, and her persecution by the Norse Fire regime. Her final words are a message of profound hope and defiance. It is the very last inch of us, but within that inch we are free. Valerie's story gives Evie the strength she thought she'd lost. When her captors present her with a final choice, sign a false confession and cooperate or be executed, she finds her own last inch of integrity. She refuses to sign, telling her interrogator, "Thank you, but I'd rather die behind the chemical sheds." The guard looks at her and says, "Then there's nothing left to threaten you with. You are free." The cell door is left open. Confused, Evie walks out, discovering her prison is an elaborate set. The guards, the interrogator, all mannequins and props. She walks through a final door and finds herself back in the shadow gallery. V steps out to meet her. It was all him. He was her captor, her torturer. Evie is shattered, consumed by rage and betrayal. But Lee explains that he had to put her through the same fire that forged him. He had to help her conquer her own fear, to free her from the prison she'd been in her whole life. He takes her to the roof, into the pouring rain. There, naked and exposed to the storm, Evie is reborn. She raises her arms to the sky, no longer afraid, finally and truly free. A year passes. V has vanished, but his symbol and his idea have taken root in the public consciousness. On the anniversary of his first attack, V resurfaces. He hijacks the national broadcast network, delivering a powerful speech directly to the people of London. He speaks of injustice and oppression, reminding them that individuals hold the true power. He invites them all to join him on the following November 5th, outside the Houses of Parliament, to witness the final act of his revolution. He then escapes, leaving the government in chaos and framing a party official for the broadcast. The final days leading to November 5th are a whirlwind of intrigue. Finch, obsessed with the case, finally pieces together V's plan. He realizes V is using the abandoned Victoria subway line, which runs directly beneath Parliament. Meanwhile, political schemes within Norsefire reach a bloody climax as internal power plays result in the deaths of several high-ranking officials, leaving the government crippled from within. V's plan is working on every level. On the eve of November 5th, V and Evie share a slow dance in the shadow gallery. He tells her that he must go, promising to return. He then descends into the subway tunnels to meet his destiny. Finch, having figured it out, convinces a reluctant leader, Susan, to lead a team of soldiers into the tunnels to intercept V. It's a trap. V uses the darkness and his knowledge of the tunnels to pick off the soldiers one by one, using speakers to broadcast a message of freedom, causing the remaining soldiers to desert their leader. Finch realizes too late that they have done exactly what V wanted. The final confrontation takes place on the subway platform. V faces down the terrified leader. Just as he is about to strike, Finch appears, his gun trained on V, but in a moment of clarity, Finch understands his role in this oppressive system. He has done his job, and he is tired of it. He tosses his gun to the leader and walks away. The leader, enraged, shoots Finch in the back before emptying his machine gun into V's chest. The bullets rip through V's cloak, but he doesn't fall. He walks calmly toward the leader, blood seeping through his clothes. "There is no flesh and blood within this cloak to kill," he says, his voice strained but steady. "There is only an idea, and ideas are bulletproof." He drives his knife into the leader's heart, ending the reign of Norsefire. Mortally wounded, V stumbles back through the shadow gallery, collapsing into Evie's arms. With his dying breaths, he asks her to finish what he started, to discover the face under the mask, but to never look beneath it. He dies, and Evie understands. V wasn't just a man, he was a symbol. To look under the mask would be to reduce the idea back to mere flesh and blood. She tenderly carries his body to the train he has loaded with explosives, surrounding him with Valerie's roses. Outside, the people of London have gathered by the thousands, a sea of humanity pushing against the barricades, ready for change. As midnight approaches, Evie stands on a rooftop overlooking the masses. She dons the mask and the hat, becoming the symbol herself. She gives one last broadcast, not as a leader but as a reminder that the future is now in their hands. He starts the train. As the 1812 overture once again fills the London air, the train crashes beneath the Houses of Parliament and the iconic building erupts in a glorious, cleansing fire. The crowd watches in awe as the ultimate symbol of their oppression is reduced to rubble. The past is erased, a pathway cleared. V is gone, but his idea, carried on by Evie and now embraced by the people, will live forever. Thanks for tuning in. Stay curious, stay awesome, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more amazing content.